So welcome to episode 6 of my Dunk Journey series. So in this episode we're just going to kind of be recapping January. We're going to be looking at some of my training clip highlights. So it's not just going to be dunks, as you can see from the start here. So this was actually my first jumps that I did in January. So I did a reactive strength index test. So that's just kind of like a 4 jump average that you can do. So to do that, you just kind of measure the flight time and the ground contact time and you divide those. That'll give you your reactive strength index score. So on that test there, I think I hit 3.52 for an average across the 4 jumps, so that wasn't too bad. And then now you can kind of see my first dunk session of the year, so this was January the 2nd. As you can see, I wasn't actually jumping that well off 1 foot. I think it was kind of a combination of the cold of the weather, and I think also just the fact that I hadn't really jumped off 1 foot in a while, so you can see I just wasn't really able to get a dunk down there. But then off 2 feet here on 9.4 I was actually able to dunk, which was, I guess, kind of surprising, because usually I'm a much better 1 foot jumper, but obviously I think with 1 foot it's a lot more, I'd say a lot more technical. Like I think with a 2-step off 2 feet I've got that kind of like ingrained in me at this point in time, where like I've done it so much because it's just such an easy way to jump for me. It's just kind of something that's like not gonna leave me even if I don't do it like that often, which I've not really done it that much, to be fair. So that's kind of it for the first dunk session of January. So you saw some of the other training clips there. So we had a fly 30 and we had some bounds, so it's a standing 5 bound that I did. I hit 13.53 on the standing 5 bound, which I was really happy with, because the week prior to that it was like 12.74, so that was a big improvement on that. Then you can see here in this next clip that it was snowy, so I didn't really have much of a chance to get some good like max effort jumps in, so I just kind of messed around on a hurdle, as you can see here, just doing what I could because the car was parked there, so I kind of just set the hurdle up there because it wasn't actually that slippy there. So that's what I did for that session. Then I wasn't really happy with that, so Monday come in, doing some training at the track. So I was doing some sprints and I decided why not go and do some hurdle jumps, so that's what I did. So the same week as that jump that you just saw there, this was the week of my best dunk session in January. So the dunk session that you're gonna see, it was about 3, maybe 2 degrees in the session, and there was like a wind chill. Like within 10 minutes of the session, my ears were freezing, my hands were freezing, and I'm just kind of like surprised how well I did in the actual session, but I was really happy with it. But you can see some of my strength training here that I was doing in the week leading up to that dunk session. So this was something that I actually found really interesting, because my like hang power clean and my power snatch, as you can see here, the numbers were like way up, and I was like catching, so you can see with the 65 kilo hang power clean, I was catching it like pretty high. I think it's the highest I've ever caught it, so that obviously indicates that I was like at kind of the highest levels of like power that I've maybe ever been at. So I just kind of thought that was interesting. It is something that seems like super obvious, like you can power clean more, you can produce more force, therefore you will jump higher. But it was just something I found really interesting. And then in the same week as that, I also hit, I think it was a 4.01 RSI. It might have just been a 4 flat RSI on the 4 jump average. So as you can see, that's like a 0.5 improvement in RSI, which is quite big. So I was really happy with that. And then also here's some more strength training from this week, so I was super happy with this. So this was my squats. So this was a 110 double kind of warm-up set, and then after this I did 2 115 doubles, ass to grass, over double body weight at 115. I think I weighed in at like, I want to say like 56.3 or something like that, can't quite remember. I know it was about 2.04 times body weight with 115 kilos on my back, so I was really happy with that. So looking forward to kind of pushing that strength up even more this year. So I don't think I've really explained my goals actually for this year, but I think I definitely want to kind of get a 150 ass to grass squat. That'd be super nice, but we'll obviously kind of see how it goes with strength training. I'm not sure if I'm going to end up pushing strength training that much this year, just have to wait and see what John and Isaiah and everyone over at THP has kind of in store for me. But anyway, back to kind of like my original point. So obviously my strength numbers were up a lot, so I was able to like power clean a lot more. I was squatting here, all-time PRs. Power snatch was up, so the hang power clean was the highest I've ever caught it, so all these things were just indications that my force production was a lot higher than it had been. And then the week after this as well, I did end up testing like maxes on squat, and it was just terrible. Like I hit 115 for a single, but it just didn't feel good. It felt like I wasn't in the groove to kind of hit the weights. There's obviously like other factors that I think impacted on that and reasons why I didn't hit that, but that's maybe for another time and another video, I guess. But here's the session where I was jumping my highest this year so far. Hopefully I can get higher than that when the weather actually starts to get nice, because as I said earlier on in the video, I think a big thing this month in January has just been the fact that the weather's not been great. So I'm looking forward to like March or April when the weather actually does get better, because I will be able to get like, I think at least for me, I'd be able to get maybe consistent dunks on 910 by like, I'd love to do it by about May or June, because that would put me in a great kind of place going into dunk camp, which I guess is a whole other thing that I could talk about. So dunk camp this year, I'm not even sure if I'll be able to fly over because of restrictions, which would just suck, but just have to kind of wait and see what happens with that, because rules can change, like things can change. 6 months is a long time, and I guess technically it's not even 6 months, it's like 5 months or something like that, so it's not really too far away. But anyway, I'll get back to the video. So as you saw there, that was my best jumps in January, and then after that it kind of like tailed off and I wasn't jumping as high. So far in February I've had one dunk session, and it was, I don't know, to put it simply, it was probably one of the worst dunk sessions I've had in a while. It wasn't great, so that was just last Friday. So I'm not sure if that's because maybe the training's changed to more specific stuff. So that it could be something like that, but honestly I'm not sure. I'm also doing a lot more depth jumps, so I'm not sure if that's kind of playing a factor into it, because depth jumps are quite intense on the body. But yeah, so I also did end up testing my vertical in this training cycle as well. So as you can see here, I touched 10.2. So I touched upon this in my actual video for this, so I'll have a link to like a playlist with all of the Dunk Journey videos that I've had so far this year. And you can kind of see the progress that I've made this year, but technically it's just not progress, it's more that I've rebuilt up neural pathways that I had before that I'd kind of like lost essentially by not practicing the motions. So building my way back up, and as you can see there with the testing, tested well off 2 feet but off 1 foot. I wasn't really able to push hard because it was still frosty on the ground, and I actually did slip a bit on the jump where I touched 10.2, so I definitely think like on a good day I could probably touch like 10.4, and I think even on the dunk session where I jumped my highest this year, so the one that I had earlier on in the video, I think on that day on a vert tech I could have probably hit like barely 10.4, and maybe even on like my best day I could maybe get like 10.5, but obviously you have to like test it to claim it. That's kind of like a big thing for me. I don't want to go and claim that I'm hitting 10.3 if I'm not hitting 10.3. But yeah, so you can see here trying to get some dunks in. So this was the final dunk session of January, I guess, not of the year. I was about to say of the year, but final dunk session of January, and it wasn't really that good. Like the 9-10 attempts weren't great. I had one reasonable attempt, two-hander on 9.4, but it wasn't really that good. So yeah, that's really about it for the month of January. That's kind of the highlights that I've had. So I guess moving forward I should set some goals for February. So I think by the end of February I'd like to at least have like a dunk on 9.10. If not a dunk on 9.10, I'd like to at least have some even closer attempts and better jumps than I've had this month, if I could get back to kind of the level that I was at on the best dunk session in January, and I could get that level consistently, I would be very happy with that. But we'll just kind of see what February has in store for me. So I'm going to be dunking, I guess, tomorrow. So the day I'm uploading this video is the day I'll be dunking. So hopefully that dunk session goes well. I did have a Domino's pizza, so honestly, I'm not sure how well it'll go, but yeah, that's the goal for February. So get a dunk on 9-10, at least get close attempts. But that's alright for the video, so if you did enjoy, you can let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to see me do, like video wise or like jump wise or anything. You can let me know in the comments, and yeah, that's about it. So thank you for watching and listening.